The strangers, believe me when I say, loving me is loving danger. Your heart is bound to break. I walk alone in the night, beneath the pale moon, loving's for the fools. Baby, beware of my bite. I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm a lone wolf. 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 I'm a creeping through the shadows and the corners of your mind. I go with the wind blows. I run but I don't hide. I hear the call of the wild, whispering the name. No, I can't be tamed. My heart belongs to the night. I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm a lone wolf. 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 I'm a
Alright guys, welcome to this historical signing. So yeah, basically guys, whoa, that's weird. Okay, so in case you're wondering what was going on, Trump has signed a bill with North Korea, and we're going to talk about it. Because at the end of the day, well, it's kind of important. So we'll talk about that. Also, obviously... Okay, sorry, I just had the playback going through my ear. That was torturous. And we'll also go through and we'll talk about Article 12, Article 11 and Article 13, which is obviously the censorship bill, and also them, the link tax, which is obviously those two bills. We are joined by a few guys from the Discord again. So guys, obviously, if you want to introduce yourselves. So you want to start?
Yeah, you can't get rid of me.
That's okay, mate. I wouldn't want to. So, why don't tell everybody who you are, what you've got, plug your stuff.
I'm Satellite.
Yep.
You guys all know who I am.
Yeah. Obviously, links to his Discord will be in the description below. Plus, also, link to his Chute channel, which is also going to have a mirror of this, will also be in the comment section below. And obviously, we are also joined by... Do you want me to use your real name, or... Yeah, or what you got now?
My real name?
Oh,
you don't know my
Milko.
real name.
Milko. I meant Milko.
McCoy.
How are you, buddy?
Goddamn. Tired.
Tired? Yeah. You sound like you're half
Always
asleep.
tired.
You sound like you're in bed right now.
No, just in a comfy chair.
Ah, cool. No worries. So, guys, like I say, yeah, obviously we will be talking about, like I say, Trump signing the bill with North Korea, and we'll also be talking about the Save the Internet. So we'll start with the Save the Internet first. I suppose you guys want to start with that first?
Is that what they're actually calling it? The Save the Internet bill?
Yeah, no, the actual bill, technical name is Article 11 and Article 13. So what's happening is the EU is bringing through a bunch of new legislation and rules that is going to go through, and the first one, the Article 11, I believe, is the link tax. So if you go through and you link to someone else's material, you have to pay a charge. I suppose this is one way the EU is going to prop up their coffers, but anyway. But yeah, you basically, so for example, if I was to go through and to link to Brightbar, or at this point I'm linking to Tech Dirty, I would have to pay a link fee. Now that's Article 11, which obviously sucks in itself, which is obviously not going to affect Google or YouTube or anything like that, because they can just go through and they can pay that. That's not a big problem for them. but small creators or even alternative media is really going to get hit by this. They're also talking about bringing in a filtering system that will go through and filter out material, which we know will be obviously used to target. Well, it's going to be used to target the illegal stuff, but also I reckon used to be targeting on alternative media as well.
I saw specifically, it's calling for an upload filter.
Yeah, there's two parts to the bill. So yeah, the first part is the link tax, and the second is the filtering, I believe. I could be wrong on that, but yeah. But at the end of the day, look, the filtering. What do you think? How do you think the filtering is going to be used? Do you guys reckon it's going to be used to censor alternative media or censor dissenting voices?
I believe it'll be used to silence dissenting voices, alternative media, social media interaction, people sending each other articles that they'd rather were not going viral, all that sort of thing.
It'll be used to censor anything they don't like, that's all.
So any anti-EU propaganda, so to speak, with quotation marks?
Anything they don't like.
Yeah, like, for example, Tommy Robertson over in the UK. Well, the UK is getting out.
They tried to censor that hard.
Yeah, well, they've thrown him in jail for 13 months, so they've pretty much done that for the past 13, or next 13 months. But, you know, anybody that does a YouTube, like, for example, I know I've been promising this video for a while, but we have someone who's reported me to the EU Media Commission. Yes! On a hate list already. What I was going to say was, like, I will make that video. I swear I will make that video.
You're actually making that video.
I'm going
to
actually do it, yeah. And I'm going to poke fun at him for doing it. But anyway, but at the end of the day, yeah, look, I imagine you know, anybody that has a sizable channel, not necessarily me, but you know, Matt Christensen, Sargon of Akkad, Computing Forever, you know, like V even, like all these guys are going to be heavily censored. They're going to have to self-censor or lose their channels. And, you know, like, I don't know what the next step after this is. What's the next step after censoring people? What, arresting them?
A lot of alt media is going to have to go down a new route. So, I mean, somebody like the Alex Jones channel, which basically is all their own original news, they might be okay.
Yeah.
But he does print out things and then, you know, he shakes the paper on the microphone and, you know, all that. He won't be able to print things out, or he'll have to be careful. But that's someone large. I think this is to stamp out the collective thousands of channels like this one.
Yeah, well, okay, so we're getting a little bit of conspiracy tinfoil hat here, but have you heard what George Soros has said about the EU lately?
No.
Loved it. Great.
I'm sort of springing it on these guys and the people that are playing at home, so please don't mind. But yeah, I was going to say, George Soros has recently said that anything that can go wrong has gone wrong regarding the EU.
Well, I actually have to agree with George Soros.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, Georgie boy, but I'm agreeing with you. Everything that can go wrong has gone wrong. I'm just trying to find the article.
Yeah, the EU is going to burn itself to the ground at this point. And I'm not even against the EU, like in general. I'm against what it's doing right now. That's all.
Yeah, I'm against the whole authoritarian censorship that they're doing. I'm
not even against authoritarianism. I'm just against, like, authoritarianism against the native people.
Okay, so here is a link to that article, and I'll put that on the screen, and I will give you guys a copy. This is a repost of a repost of a repost, so someone's just mirrored the article. I think the original one was...
that's three dips into the tax there.
Yeah. EU's gonna enjoy that one. But I was gonna say, yeah, it's George Soros. Everything that can go wrong has gone wrong. If you're against Donald Trump, you have something in common with George Soros. In Thursday interview, Soros opinioned that Trump is willing to destroy the world. Funny, I thought George Soros was going to do that. Soros is willing to destroy the white race and white countries, so it takes that he will simply project his own values on Trump. So it was actually, sorry, Daily Mail originally. The liberal billionaire, I wouldn't go calling him a liberal, but anyway, liberal billionaire George Soros blamed Trump administration for the current woes in society, adding that everything that can go wrong has gone wrong. So...
Well, I guess I disagree with him I agree with him, but for the wrong reasons. So
yeah,
everything's going wrong with the EU, but it's all their own fault. They're spiting themselves. It's not Trump's doing.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He's trying to project his own inadequacies on Trump. I reckon that at the end of the day, and look, obviously we're starting to get into a third topic here. But at the end of the day, the fact is that you bring in a whole bunch of migrants, and you're going to have problems. That's half the problem they've got, and this is where the EU and this censorship's going to come into problems. That what are they going to do? Censor everybody that has a disconcerting voice regarding...
We're going to try.
But goddamn, we'll give it all that college try. But, you know, like I say, it's... VPN? Anybody want to buy a VPN service? Is there a way around this? And this is where obviously you would have more information than anybody. What do people in the EU do if they want to get past this? You have any ideas?
If they want to get past this, look, it doesn't matter if you go through a VPN and then log into something. Mm-hmm. So, like for example, Facebook had this thing where you could actually go to Facebook with a Tor address, a .onion address, and then I just simply shook my head and just went, okay, and like, what difference is this going to make? So it's not, a VPN would be something that would help you with the Great Firewall of China, but this is not that. This EU thing is something else. So it's, if you logged in or you're blogging and you're linking with a VPN, it don't matter because there's still an identity attached to that login.
So, yeah, and I was also wondering, too, that the impression I get from this is that they're actually talking about censoring the internet from the source. This is going to be like, before anything gets uploaded to the internet, they're talking about possibly having it so that it all goes to a central mainframe, which I'll get to in a sec, and that has to be then approved, and then that then gets put on the internet.
Censoring at the source. That's an interesting method of going about it.
Well, that would stop a lot of the VPNs. That would stop a lot of people accessing it, but then okay.
VPNs in of themselves. VPNs in of themselves are not exactly immune to law. If the VPN service is logging anything, obviously that's still there. And if you use it incorrectly, then they still know what you're doing. And, the EU could also legislate away the ability to use any kind of anonymization service, which then technically makes a VPN illegal. If you're in China and they catch you accessing services through any kind of anonymization service, then they do throw you in jail, I believe.
Yeah, I was going to say China, I think, just recently put pressure on Facebook and whatnot. I think Apple, actually, I think it was Apple and Samsung, to actually try and block people from using VPNs in their country. Let me see if I can find a link on that. But while I'm finding the link on that, the infrastructure alone. Sorry, yeah.
I have no clue how you would actually be able to stop a VPN.
Well, what they did in China, in China they tried to remove it from the OS system, I believe.
Well, the thing, Mikoi, too, is that, there's an IP address attached to the entry point of a VPN service, and if your government was putting in resources to just track the IP addresses of these servers when you connect to it, and if it's illegal to do so, then they know you connected to it. So the VPN hides what you're doing, but not the fact that you're using it.
Okay, so what happened was Apple has defied complying with China over VPNs. This is one article I found. This is back in 2017, or 2nd of August. Apple boss Tim Cook has defied his company's decision to comply with Chinese government demanding it removes VPN software from the App Store. So Apple has removed VPN apps in China as Beijing doubles down on censorship. So what they did was they simply made it so that you couldn't download the apps from the App Store in China. Now, obviously, we can still download the apps here, so obviously it's only a Chinese thing. And I believe people found a way around it still. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's, you know, is this what the EU is going to start having to bring in? Like, how close do they have to get to China before we start saying, hey, you know, those freedoms.
Next logical step.
Yeah.
This right now, what they're doing is pretty much the precursor. The only thing you do next is exactly that. You kill anonymization services, pretty much.
So producer says in live chat, thanks. VPNs don't protect you from something or other. You decrypt your Wi-Fi signals now. It's not so it's not legal. I don't know about how it works, but this.
However, here's the thing: if you were going to this would affect me, as I've already talked about. So, if I connect to a VPN, I do it with my router. So if my phone now was technically on the VPN, which it's not, but if it was, then the traffic between the router and my phone would not be part of the VPN, so they could decrypt the Wi-Fi and see what I'm doing.
Yeah, so
that's true.
They're decrypting it at the source where it actually starts the broadcast, not yeah.
Correct. So he's right on that. But if I wanted to be if I want to add the extra tinfoil on top of the tinfoil hat and go double, then yes, I would connect the VPN on the phone itself or the laptop. So what I would tell everybody is that if you're going to use a VPN and you want to do it right with a proper router software, connect it with an Ethernet cable. Go old school.
And just ditch the Wi-Fi completely.
Well, at least, no, I mean, just if you're going to use the VPN, plug the Ethernet into your laptop, and then when you finish with the VPN, go back on your Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay. So, like, all right. So, not to dox myself or anything like that, but this house of mine, for example, I've got rooms that have Ethernet ports in every room, and there's a central switch in the study where I'm sitting right now, which has a 24-port switch, which basically provides the internet to the whole house. And the modem is out in the kitchen, which then plugs into an Ethernet port, which runs into the switch into this room. Does that mean if I connect my phone to the Wi-Fi, because I also have Wi-Fi as well, does that mean that everything that I search on the phone can be decrypted, even though I run VPN on that?
Okay, so if the VPN is connected by the phone to the VPN server, no. But if the VPN is connected by the router to the server and your phone is accessing the VPN over the Wi-Fi, it's to do with where the beginning point of the VPN begins.
Sweet, yeah. Okay.
So,
yeah. Well, I run VPN on my phone because of the fact that I'm not always on the Wi-Fi at home. You know, I might be out, whatever, and so I always run the VPN on that.
Yeah,
but
everybody needs to remember that the fact that you're using a VPN is a very obvious thing to any kind of nanny state. Because if I downloaded 600 gig in a month and only 100 gig looks like it's normal Netflix and YouTubing, well, they're going to wonder why is there this other 500 gig of really encrypted data. And it's only one IP address doing it. They're going to be like,
It's funny.
You see what I mean?
It's funny you say that because I actually rang up my ISP, not saying who it is, but I rang up my ISP and I said I want to connect this modem or this router to a VPN. And I'm like, I can't find the option in there to set it all up, blah, 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 blah. And their question was, why do you want to connect to a VPN? And I was like, well, A, I don't want you to see my midget-loving porn, and B, I don't want you selling my data to anybody. And
dude, you don't have to. Don't lie. We know that you're into pandas.
Well, I was going to say, you know, my avatar is a red panda. Oh God, he's in here. Who let him in? Hey, super neat. How are you? Are you going to behave yourself?
That's not super neat.
It's not neat. It's nip.
Oh, sorry. You guys sound so similar sometimes. I don't know how you do it.
We don't sound similar at all. What
you do.
Oh God, you just triggered him.
Yeah. But anyway, Super Nate was in chat and he's calling me.
I'm gonna clip that out.
Okay.
The midget porn part.
Okay, that's fine.
You can
also
clip that up as my own video.
Yeah, and you can also clip out the part about me loving panda porn too, if you like. But what I was going to say was, look, obviously I'm joking,
Can I get a
guys.
clear statement on that?
Sure. As a joke, I love gay. I love gay. Shit. Anyway, moving along.
Freudian slip.
But
all right. Go on, let's move on.
Moving on.
Yeah,
I know you're going to have fun with the audio, right? Just whatever he makes me say, I didn't say it. All right, just saying. But anyway, so, and also you were saying earlier too about the VPNs, that there is still a way that they can track VPNs even though you're running off one. Is that they can still find out what you're using?
It's okay. It's because most people are using VPNs where, you know, for example, like Tunnel Bear. Everyone's all about, Tunnel Bear.
Yeah.
Download the great program, put it on your computer.
Mm-hmm.
It's silly. It's silly, and it's silly for a lot of reasons. I don't recommend anybody just putting VPN software on their Windows computer and thinking that's all I had to do.
No.
I mean, DNS leaking is a big concern because DNS in of itself is doxing your every move.
Yeah.
If you're not doing it properly, then the DNS queries is more than enough for them to know what you're doing. So that's where this whole thing about putting the VPN on your router and having like a pfSense setup do it for you. Yes, it means that if you're over Wi-Fi, then don't do that. But it's a good price to pay because so if your DNS and your traffic is running through the VPN, then it is extremely secure then, and they can't track you. They cannot track you. And of course, make sure that you're using a service that doesn't keep any logs of anything.
Yeah.
But that does mean that for us Australians, we don't, like the VPN service I use, they don't have any Australian servers. There's a reason for this. There are some VPN services that have servers in Australia, in Europe, etc. And I just sort of scratch my head and go, why? I mean, that is wrong. The laws in this country aren't going to help. If they want to track you, they will find a way. So at the end of the day, a VPN is something for, say, downloading stuff. It's for accessing dark web. It's for accessing things privately. It's not for gaming. It's not for watching YouTube. So having a server close in your own country for the ping, that's not the point of the matter. So you have one computer, your main one, that uses normal internet, you do your normal stuff on, and you have another computer that's where you do your private stuff. And this is called air gapping. It's about the fact that you use a different browser, you have a completely different machine, and there are many reasons for this. For example, type into Google right now, audience, and look at something called HTML5 canvassing.
HTML5.
Yeah.
Canvas.
Yes. So now, when your browser generates a canvas, it has a distinctive fingerprint to it, and it can actually identify your machine, and it can do this whether you're on a VPN or not, because the machine itself is unique in that way. The fingerprint it's usually the combination of the machine itself and the browser. So if you do switch to different browsers on the one machine between VPN and ClearNet, that's not so bad, but I still wouldn't recommend it because you can make mistakes.
Yeah,
and cookies will do the same. Cookies track you too.
Also,
accessing. Yeah.
I was going to say, also, from my understanding too, the Windows 10 software has more backdoors in it than a prostitute's house, to be honest. So at the end of the day, you know, like even if you're running a VPN on Windows 10, it's not necessarily going to be secure anyway, because the fact is that Windows can just decrypt it from the virtual source.
Well, yes and no. Like the thing is, I'm saying having a different machine, even if it's just a virtual machine on the same PC, but at least just be it a separate installation, a separate instance, if you like, a separate machine, and that at least mitigates a lot of this. If you install NoScript onto Firefox and you go to any website, you'll notice that the Google JavaScripts are present everywhere. And it creates a cookie, and Facebook, again, creates a cookie, and this cookie can track you everywhere. So if you get on the VPN and you open the same browser, the cookie is going to dox you instantly. You know, yeah.
We're so heading towards such an Orwellian state that this is what 1984, and I believe was it you or was it that Milkoy, or I can never pronounce your name, dude. Forgive me. Okay. McCoy. Oh, someone said that 1984 it was a warning, not a guidebook. Well, it does. I can't remember which one of you said that.
That's what I said.
Okay, yep. Full credit to him for saying that. But like I say, at the end of the day,
I stole the quote from other people. It's been stated before.
All right, cool. But I was going to say,
it's a classic.
But yeah, at the end of the day, it does really seem like they've gone, okay, this is the book, this is the reference on what we should do, and let's do it, yay! Like,
well, there are some other authors who have created dystopias like 1984, and it's kind of like a fusion of all of them.
Quick thing. Apparently, Superneat's over in the waiting room.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He was
I
naughty.
didn't want to drag him in that nonpartisan.
Yeah, he was naughty last time. Do we really want him in?
Just tell him to behave. I'm sure he'll be fine.
Do I have to sit here and edit the video stream again? Because I had to do it last time.
If he starts acting up, just kick him.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, welcome to the stream. Yeah, just be careful what you say. It's YouTube.
Just behave. Apparently, Nonpartisan here is just worried about getting his channel flagged, and he really doesn't want to lose it. And so we've all decided, okay, we'll be nice.
Oh yeah. No, I got an email from YouTube a bit ago, outlining some new content policies.
Really? You want to talk about that?
Yeah. But check your email, dude.
I don't know which account
this was interesting.
It would be the one associated with your email account. It'd be the one that gets a stupid amount of social messages from YouTube. It's pretty much preemptively.
I heard you mention this the other day. You said something about an email the other day.
Yes, but I couldn't find it. I don't know if my spam caught it or what. I couldn't actually find what they sent me on that. Let me go to the Gmail account.
I want to change. And Nonpartisan, I want to change that meme that I've just posted in the Showtext channel. So instead of Chad Stacey's and teachers, to read YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and weird white kid be Nonpartisan media.
Yeah, funny. I don't actually have the email. I can't find it.
If you've set YouTube to be flagged, and granted, like Gmail specifically flags YouTube accidentally sometimes because of the ridiculous amount.
Oh, boy, do you have the email? Maybe you can just mention what it says.
Yeah, just read it out.
Yeah, I'll open up my email.
Some good content. I also have some other Australian news that you might want to that we can bring up after you've ran through the content that you've got planned. About the military catalogue that they've started doing and the way that the left's presenting it compared to what the reality is.
Interesting.
I have a short video that you can play on your stream. I'll send you the link. No problem.
Yep, sorry, I'm just looking for this email. Just looking for the email.
Oh, yeah. And boy, I see you got verified. That's heaps. Congratulations, dude. Oh well, I'll fill in the dead air at the moment with
Sure.
some other stuff about VPNs if you want. Yeah, a bit of a monologue on this one.
Well, what I was going to ask, sorry, what I was going to ask
Go
actually.
on.
So one thing I did want to ask is that they're talking about building this server where everything has to be uploaded. So everything gets stored on this server. Yeah, you know where I'm going to go with this. Everything gets stored on this server, and then it will be referencing. Then that's what they're going to use for the filtering methods. I'm just wondering how big of a server does EU think they're going to have to build to hold the whole of the internet?
That is actually not
to
that.
death.
It's actually not that far off from reality, to be honest.
Yeah, they could do it.
I found the email and it links to their policy page.
Sweet.
But yeah, basically it's the same thing, but they've added a asterisk, which is this is all based locally, which has been for a long period of time. But I think what they're doing is they're preempting the EU's move to create this internal internet. And obviously they want into Europe and stuff like that. It makes sense for them to want into that network as soon as it goes up. So they've already expanded this HTTP policy. I mean, it's been like that in Germany for a long period of time, but I guess they're going to make it more universal.
So to comment on that quickly, and to ask Salah another question. So Nonpartisan, it won't end up being that they store every single bit of audio, etc. They'll use AI things to essentially make logs of everything.
Hashes.
And then it's every character will be 1 byte.
Right.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Or they'll hash it, or the hash links to everything, etc. Right? So it's not like everything you post will be served. So we can't make 10 million 10-hour videos of of Never Gonna Give You Up, of Rick Rolls, and have them upload that.
You mean we can't rickroll the server?
Yeah.
Damn it.
YouTube's copyright system works this way. The copyright holder uploads the entire song, and then it hashes it down into like a few bytes string.
Yep.
And that's how it works.
Okay. Cool. So they could actually store the whole.
And so before we. Yeah.
Damn it.
So they could store everything that they need to. And then it's going to cost minimal amount to add more.
But if you want to blow minds, I mean, they technically could hold probably half the internet. In reality, if just look at Akamai, this is something which is it's a massive worldwide CDN, content delivery network. Just have a look at some stats, if you can find any. What is Akamai and how much data it holds and how much it's serving per minute. This will blow your mind.
How much is so? How's that spelled? Sorry, AC.
Oh, it's AKAMAI.
So while he's looking at that satellite, would you say it's true that if you use just a regular VPN server in Australia without any extra security, essentially what you're doing is you're just putting a red flag up so they can watch you with like a whore instead of being a regular person on the internet and just So that's what I
stick out like a sore thumb. But the thing is, there's a pulsing red. Yes, you stick out like a sore thumb, but they don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. So whereas a lot of people who end up wanting to ask me like, "Oh, should I use a VPN?" and I generally tell them, not unless you're going to go all out and actually make sure you are properly secure, because all you're going to do is draw attention to yourselves and get everybody's eyes on you.
Okay,
and
so
even then,
out
you
like
maintain a public profile.
Yeah, so if you stick out like a sore thumb using a VPN, but you're not doing it right, then not only did you flag yourself, but then they actually know what you're doing.
Yeah, they're going to look at every single thing. So if you're just using, say, what was that service you mentioned before?
I use AirVPN.
Tunnel one. Yeah, I use
AirVPN, but the other ones. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Tunnel Bear and the others because they actually do put servers in Australia and stuff. I don't.
Yeah. Okay. So not only do they put servers in Australia, and you remember these companies, they abide by the local laws of the nation. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to have it there, and so you should collect profit.
Yeah, but
don't go to your local VPN if you want it.
Yeah, but sorry, that's what I was going to say. That these laws, it's not so much the fact that it's going to affect me, you, America, or anybody like that. Like, obviously, we're not in the EU at the moment anyway. But I was going to say, but it's more the fact that what happens when Facebook starts censoring their content because they want to be a part of the EU, and all of a sudden we can't start finding content because we can't find it because Facebook doesn't want it because they're a part of the EU now. Is that likely to happen?
Can I put on some tinfoil hat for you?
What starts? We didn't start censoring the content.
Yeah, well...
They're monitoring everything already.
You know what I mean. No,
okay,
implementing these new features.
Well, here's a tinfoil hat for you. Here's what... Okay, so this is going to sound like a conspiracy. But what if, because of American Constitution, they can't do censorship? But what if when they gave the internet, the ICANN and all that stuff away to the EU, or not the EU, they gave it to the United Nations. But then, the way that you could censor the internet is by lowest common denominator. So if all of the social media wants to abide by the EU and actually do censorship based on that excuse, and they can't do it based on American law, then yes, they would do it by EU law.
I don't know why you're saying that's tinfoil hat. That's why they did it. At least that's most likely why they did it. I mean, I don't know where that tinfoil hat's coming from, dude. They already do that with video games and media. They said if they essentially content that is produced and given to the entire EU essentially abides by Germany's standards of censorship and what's okay, because that is the market that they want to sell into. And it's easier to just make one localized version for the entire region rather than make one localized version for just one country. It's also why Australia just gets actually gimped, because we're not a big enough market for them to actually bother making a proper localized version for us. Not unless our rules essentially coincide with that. Like, Facebook is easier for them just to follow the lowest common denominator set of laws. And now that they've given it over to the UN, it's just a practical business decision, or at least that's what it looks like.
I'm trying to find an article. Yeah. There was an article I believe it was last year, where China actually gave, I think it was IP addresses to China that were people that were breaking the law or something. The Facebook worked with China to get these guys arrested, and China arrested these guys.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it was killed them or something, or put them in prison or something.
Yeah, Pakistan did the same thing. There was an atheist Facebook group in Pakistan that Facebook found and decided that since they'll break the law, they're going to hand them their names and their locations over to the authorities, and they were, as is done under Islamic law, summarily executed.
So at the end of the day, we already
Facebook.
Yeah, I was going to say we already have Facebook giving out IP addresses and that to China because they want in with their market.
No, it's not just given to China and not just IP addresses. They're not going to censor you. They're going to let you hang yourself and going to work with the country to prosecute you.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is Facebook. This is Reddit. This is 4chan. This is every single social media platform under the net, which is why blockchain networks are good, because while everything's technically transparent, it can't be. But they'll just have to get yourself through that. Themselves with that kind of stuff. But yeah, so like, even 4chan, even 8chan, etc. All these services, they are not secure. They are not protecting anonymity.
No.
You are not anonymous on the fucking internet, people. No. Not unless you go to great extents to do so. And even then, you stick out like a sore thumb, and they probably have a file on you. They just can't prove it.
I've posted on 8chan through my VPN with the separate computer. There is no knowing who wrote that post. I know for a fact.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But 8chan is willing to work with authorities. I mean, 8chan nowadays is not really the original.
But they got
8chan.
Nothing on me. If I wrote something illegal on that, they could never find out who it was.
Well, to be fair,
I agree.
8chan.
But you have to go to the extent that I go. So, go on.
During the big CP scandal on 8chan, the administrators for that website did help the FBI in investigating where a computer was coming from what times it logged on and what times it logged off. And obviously they were using VPNs because they weren't stupid, but there was enough log in and log off information to figure out what VPN was actually doing it stateside, even though the actual entry to the website was coming from somewhere in Russia. Basically, it wasn't proof, it was suspicion, but it was enough to get a warrant to go through the computers of that particular person, in which they found the proof.
But was that because of the fact that it was CP, or was that because of the fact that it was just them working?
Regardless of the fact it was CP,
it was
child pornography, right? But regardless of that, if they want to go after you, Channel Services will work with you. Unless you go to the extent Satellite goes to, you're not anonymous at all.
No.
And even with the extent that he goes to, if he makes it wrong, and it means they can track you. When there's a will, there's a way, even if it's going and breaking somebody's arm.
I know one of the tactics they do. One of the tactics they can do is if they figure out I have a port opened, for example, with torrenting, and I don't change the port number for a long time, what they could do is if the FBI wants to investigate, they could find that port, which means they can send traffic to it, and it will go through my internet. And what they do is that they will send a specific traffic pattern in UDP to that port number on the VPN input. The VPN naturally puts it on the output to my internet. And then they just look for that pattern of traffic around the world until they find it, and that's me.
Look, at the end of the day, obviously, the best thing about obviously all this is not getting these censorship laws put in the first place. Everything we're talking about here is pretty much a way of getting past the censorship. If we can not get the laws put in the first place, then that's obviously the best policy. And that's where obviously things like this saveyourinternet.edu. Obviously, if anybody is in the EU and has seen this video, please go. I wouldn't suggest putting your real email address when it says add your email address, because that would probably be a mistake. You know, it's like saying, hey, who's up against the censorship? Just send us all your emails and we'll take care of it. But, you know, definitely make a fake email address with a fake name and a fake address. And, you know, if you want to put Buckingham Palace as an address, I don't think anybody will complain.
And pay for it with Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, I was going to say free email with Gmail or something.
Yeah, no, do it with Bitcoin, do it with crypto. But I have 5 email addresses, and I guarantee you they're all attached to my name if you have the right technologies. Or they're all attached to my IP, and that will be all associated back, etc.
Yeah.
Also, Bitcoin, while it's secure, if they want to look into hard enough, they can find where it was originally bought, unless you're buying Bitcoin in cash. And there's a reason why sites like buybitcoin.com.au charge a good fucking $600 more to $1,000 more per Bitcoin when you're buying in cash. In fact, I think the rate is about $2,000 to $3,000 more when you buy in cash. You meet the person, give them cash, and they transfer it, because otherwise it is attached to your name. In fact, Australian regulations nowadays make it so in order to hold a Bitcoin account to trade with an exchange, you have to basically give all of your information and treat it like a bank. I had to do that in order to access my Bitcoin that I had on Australian servers, which is why I don't use Australian exchanges anymore.
Yes, but also, you know, there's a cashless society movement going on. So, you know, within the next 10, 20 years, cash might not even exist.
Yeah. No, that's 100% true. But cash won't exist, but it'll be just numbers on a bank, and you'll have a card, you'll have a Bitcoin account, but it'll be not Bitcoin, it'll be Australian crypto. Or it'll be the e-shekel.
Don't joke about that. That's a real thing.
Shekel is actually a real thing.
No. It's a real thing. That's not a joke. The shekel is the currency of Israel, and the Bank of Israel has recently released a cryptocurrency called the e-shekel. This is not a joke. This is not anti-Semitism, etc. They are just the first bank to do it. Japan, Korea, and Singapore are also following suit.
At least they can.
To be fair,
at least they can make fun of themselves, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. To be fair, it's one of the first state-backed cryptocurrencies. Aside from when Putin backed Ethereum for some reason.
He made a lot of money.
Yeah.
He made a lot of money, yes. But
Putin already
didn't
has a lot
Ethereum
of money.
say that?
Sorry.
Didn't one of the main Ethereum firm shut down, and the only trace of what was left of it was a TXT file that read penis?
One of the exchanges, yeah, one of the exchanges got hacked. There was a lot of money that was lost in it. Same thing with like the whatever the fucking site was, one over Japan. Whenever a Bitcoin exchange gets hacked and people losing a lot of money, buy Bitcoin that week. Oh god, buy Bitcoin that week.
Buy that dip. Buy the dip.
Yeah.
Buy the dip. So
buy the dip always. It was not going to go down. Like, buy the dip because it's gonna bounce back up. Bitcoin will level out eventually though, and it will end up going into actual currencies with some sort of backing that will either be nationally backed or will be things like XRP, etc. Anyway, let's not get on to Bitcoin talk because we don't want the audience to end up wanting to shoot themselves.
Yeah, well, I was going to say...
Let's talk about Bitcoin.
Don't worry, your fellow co-host already wants to.
and be nice. And what I was going to say was, and also look at the end of the day, obviously Bitcoin or BitChute and stuff like that, you know, those sort of stuff. Obviously they're great, but yeah, I don't know how viable that is. I'm not shitting on it or anything like that. I love the whole decentralized and everything like that, but I don't know how viable these platforms are going to be in the future. They just don't have the base that things like YouTube and stuff like that have. And like, can you run an app on your smart TV or whatever to access BitChute? Is that even?
John, you know me for this? Okay, listen. You got to think of this as the early Internet 1.0 web hosting site, the video hosting sites. What you should be looking at is it as this is the first one in 10, 20, 30 years time, most likely about 10 years time, you will have competitors out the wazoo. And essentially it's going to just be practical for her everywhere to do this kind of stuff. Decentralization in that sense is kind of the future because it doesn't require them to have the cost. The only reason not to have decentralization is if you want control of the content. If the users want free content, there's a lot to compete against.
Yeah,
it will become the standard. It will become.
Hello,
especially when it comes to currencies and the economics side of it. You can't compete with a decentralized. It becomes gold essentially. It literally becomes a non-perishable, non-fuckable resource. Now you can hide the source of it. I can buy 70% of Bitcoin and I can start trading from my exchange, and you don't have access to it. Most is in my exchange, and I can start to fractional reserve banking based on having this there, and I can then funnel away 70% of what I have on me and just try to run away with it. But it's because of zero value all of a sudden when people don't trust it anymore. The fundamentals are just are too fucking good to fight. When it comes to video hosting, etc., you can, and my hope at least is that most chips will just have an inbuilt ability to do this. You will get rid of the hosting costs for things like YouTube. Like YouTube doesn't draw a profit. It draws a profit purely because it's an advertising network.
But this
it doesn't draw a profit from its.
So this is what I don't understand, right? They say YouTube doesn't draw a profit. You're going to tell me, look, okay, yes, sure, they've got a whole stack of information, like terabytes and terabytes or whatever. But you're going to tell me, obviously YouTube wouldn't be running these off someone else's servers. They're going to run their own servers, right?
Yeah.
So
they do run their own servers.
So they don't have to worry about paying for web hosting because they're running off their own servers. How is this not viable for YouTube to do with the amount of money they make off advertising and super chat and everything like that? How does YouTube...
No. I can tell you exactly why. Alphabet doesn't run a profit. Google makes a profit off of YouTube. It's just one of those things where like a pharmacy doesn't make a profit out of a dispensary machine, but the pharmacy makes a profit because it needs a dispensary machine. YouTube is just it's a utility that Google uses in other ways apart from, say, you just hosting videos on it.
Yeah.
You know, it hosts live streams, does promotions, AdSense makes a killing, an absolute killing. And by the way, when you get your monetization, when you get your monetization eventually, you'll quickly realize that if you actually look at the ads and the price that most ad management firms are willing to pay for that kind of ad, you're probably only getting about 45% of the deal, where AdSense is about 55%.
Yeah.
I think it's a play on words.
50-50. Yeah, I think it's 50-50 to be honest. I think that's they've announced.
That's what they tell you.
Yeah.
That's what they tell you, because they've put market price down on the ads, quote unquote, when they're representing it to you. But when they actually sell it, it's much higher.
So that's what I never understood why. Sorry, I never understood why that they have their own web hosting. How this can't be profitable. So it's like, for example, people pay Google, they don't pay YouTube, so YouTube is just running at a loss.
Yeah, YouTube is a separate utility. It's a lot of things within a business, quote unquote, run at a loss. But there's such a utility to other parts of the business, that being Google, that there are a massive benefit.
I can't remember the name of the term, but there's a financial management term which essentially is you carry on the cost. So you reduce the price at which your subsidiary sells an input material to you, so that you can produce your output, your product at a lower cost and then gain greater profit. So your subsidiary that, say, mines some raw material doesn't make as much profit as it would otherwise, but it sells all its materials to you at below market rate, and therefore when you produce your computer chips or whatever, you make a far higher profit and are able to compete at a lower cost than any competitor.
All right. Do you guys want to jump onto North Korea before Maliko kills himself, shoots himself in the head?
I hope we get nuked. I want a baptism by nuclear fire. Trump, can you please just put your hand over the table and give Kim a good slap right now?
Well, I was going to say, you might be out of luck. I'm not sure if you're up to date on...
Yeah, it's over, isn't it? Oh, no.
Yeah. Got some bad news for you, Super. North Korea committed to complete denuclearization. Now, this is obviously mainstream media. We're talking about the CNBC article here. But didn't define what that means. Okay, so mainstream media does not know what denuclearization means, but anyway... look, at the end of the day, obviously this is mainstream media. They're not going to be credible or giving when it comes to Trump. They're going to try and downplay it as much as they can. Similar articles from Breitbart, for example, Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un signed document for complete denuclearization of Korean Peninsula.
You're triggering me.
Sorry?
You're triggering me.
And then... and also the Daily Caller, here's what Kim Jong-un and agreed upon at summit. So according to Daily Caller, President Donald Trump and North Korea leader Kim Jong-un took steps towards decreasing tensions on the Korean Peninsula in a joint statement signed by two leaders on Tuesday. The text of the agreement was seen by reporters before its official release by the White House. Trump held it up during a joint signing ceremony with Kim Jong-un. The text of the agreement notes that first the United States and the DPRK, I think that's supposed to be the Republic of Korea.
Democratic People's Republic of Korea.
That's it. Is committed to
DPRK.
establish a new U.S. DPRK relations in accordance with the desire of the people of the two countries for peace and prosperity. The text also indicates that Trump gave security agreements to North Korea regime in exchange for taking concrete steps towards denuclearization. Consequently, North Korea leader Kim Jong-un signed onto a pledge to work towards complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. And then it just goes on to say Kim and Trump also committed to holding future meetings between the two countries, led by the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, which I think is a mistake, but we'll get to that in a sec, and a relevant high-level DPRK official. Chairman Kim and I signed a joint statement in which Chairman Kim and I signed a joint statement in which he reaffirms his unwavering commitment to complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. We also agreed to vigorous negotiations to implement and agree as soon as possible that he wants to do that. Trump said the press conference, according to North Korea, will destroy a major missile testing site as an outside gesture of good faith. Sorry, Super, but your days of living out your fantasy of Fallout 4 ain't gonna happen by looks.
Oh no. Okay. Well, I will put forward a theory, and I would say that North Korea has only been able to exist in a meaningful way because of this cycle of, oh yes, I want to make a deal. You want to make a deal with me? I'm gonna do all these really good flashy press things, get the world's eye off my back. Yeah, I'm gonna do okay, and the press has got their story. Okay, fuck off.
Yeah, there is that theory going around that he is simply doing this just to.
No, it's okay. What he says is not just a theory. That's the way they've acted before. The North Korean status quo is: I make a threat, you guys give me aid, I continue my regime. Now, here's the thing. I think this might be what you're about to get to. They've said they will denuclearize when America pulls troops out of South Korea. Is America ever going to pull troops out of South Korea and get rid of its military bases there?
Well, what Trump said, and look, obviously this is what he said, is that at the end of the day, he is prepared to do whatever it is possible to have a peaceful world.
Well, Trump also said that they now have a special relationship, even though that, like, what was it? How many months ago fucking Kim Jong called him a fucking dotard? Someone who's so old they're practically retarded?
Yeah, but okay, so let's talk about the tweets. How much of those do you reckon was them just puffing up their chests and just taking shots at each other? Do you really believe that he was...
Oh, of course.
But do you believe he was really serious? Yeah.
Shit posting on the world stage.
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of bothered by the fact that we have fucking Dennis Rodman, the fucking basketball player, being the national fucking relations, just because some random fucking North Korean dynasty boy had a fucking man crush for him when he was in fucking Swedish boarding school.
Yeah, it is a little weird that I've said this before. I don't know what time zone was slipped in where Trump won the election and all of a sudden... Sorry?
Timeline.
Yeah.
You said time zone.
Oh, sorry, timeline.
Sorry, you should autism.
Sorry, timeline where Trump won the election and everything is just weird as fuck. It's just like we've got the left.
When something doesn't go to plan, nothing goes to plan.
Yeah, well,
and this wasn't the plan.
No, and you just look at the past 2 years or 18 months. It's coming up to 2 years, where things are just. Dude, things are just going autistically spastic. It's like we've got people that are... The left is literally sitting there screaming at the sky. Their policy for running on 2018 is gun control and impeach Trump, which is going to be great. See how you lose the election in that, or the midterms.
Let me put it this way. I could have went through a lifetime supply of popcorn in the last 18 months.
Yeah.
It's been a fucking great shit show.
It is.
And I've been loving every minute of it. The bad and the good, on both sides. It's been fucking beautiful. As an Australian over here, I'm just hoping somebody gets it in matter and pushes the red button. But listen, like they're going to supposedly do denuclearization, but this is contingent on whether or not Trump pulls out. This is a bargaining chip for them. It's going to get international pressure off them. It's going to make people when I say make people, I mean make nations have the excuse that, okay, we can start trading with them again. We can give them some foreign aid. We can try to de-escalate. We can get some of that oil and give them some cash for it, or give them some food for it. We all should know that the path here is heading towards the Kim dynasty is going to come to an end.
Okay, I don't.
There is a reason why the mainstream media was praising them during the Olympics.
I don't see anything here about him having to pull out of South Korea. The 4 points that I've got now, obviously this is Breitbart, so they're going to be right-leaning, so maybe they didn't mention it because it's against Trump, but the 4 points they mention is United States and the DPRK commit to establish new relations in accordance with the desire of the people of the two countries for peace and prosperity. United States and the...
Also, it's possible conditions. Possible conditions, my bad.
Yeah.
I was actually looking at the article you were posting for. I just did the quote. That's the themes for that.
Oh, okay. Was that from the CNBC?
That was from the CNBC article. That one's actually rather good for his initial articles. When they do their first articles, generally they stick straight to just what they can prove with minor conjecture. Now, that is conjecture, whether it could be that, but they've said this kind of stuff before. They've said, oh, yes, we are willing to have a peace. We are willing to have a peace. But when it comes down to it, they are going to add extra terms onto it. They are not going to... He's not just going to step down and give denuclearization. He's not that fucking stupid.
Yeah, well, I was going to say...
If he was going to do that, then his generals would overthrow him.
Well, and I was going to say that the other three conditions... or other two main conditions are the reaffirming the April 27, 2018 Pajam Declaration that the DPRK commits to forward to complete their denuclearization, and the United States and the DPRK commit to recovering the prisoner of war MIA remains, including the immediate repatriation of those already identified. Of those already identified. Breitbart doesn't mention anything about the base, but then you're saying that the end.
Okay, but there's a good chance that they'll want America to pull back from the border.
Yeah,
or at least de-escalation of the border. Like, ideally, we'd have de-escalation of the border if we're going to have peace between North Korea and South Korea.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest thing about this would honestly be peace between North Korea and South Korea, because that'll be an end to a 50-year-old war or 70-year-old war at this point.
Yeah.
But it's not just gonna be that. Okay, they're gonna destroy a missile silo and go through denuclearization and join the rest of the world. Kim plays a balancing game with his control over the nation. He has to be the strong figurehead that gets the best for his people.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, he's not. He may be the God Emperor, but he does not have complete control of that fucking nation.
No.
He only has control because people allow him to have control in that sense. If it ends up being the case where his generals feel like he's going to end up just cucking completely because they're going to give him a bunch of money and set him up on an island where he can have rather than come and play private basketball games for him, that is not going to go over well with his generals, and he has to play that balancing game.
True.
He has to play the balancing game with his people. He can't look weak. I mean, if they had half the chance, they'd sodomize him with a freaking bayonet as well. And we all know how that went for Gaddafi.
Yeah, well, there's that. I just brought Maliko down. But yeah, there's... Yeah, well, look, at the end of the day, I can't really blame Kim Jong-un for wanting nukes. And this is where I get a little sympathetic. If I was in his situation, if I had just seen the Libyan president literally get sodomized with a bayonet because of American troops, then I would be like, okay, I need something that's guaranteeing my safety as well. Like, I'm not saying he's in the right, but I can understand why he's doing it. And, and this is, if he can get America to turn around and say, no, we guarantee your peace, that we will not nuke you, on the life of my son, so to speak, is that going to be good enough for him to turn around and say, okay, we'll get rid of our nukes? Is Trump's
Not
word...
at all, because in another 4 years' time, that word means nothing.
Yeah, well, 6 years, because Trump's going to win 2020, but yeah.
Well, yeah,
but yeah, you're right. Yeah, exactly, you have a really good point. After Trump goes, after Trump is no longer president, what's to say the next prime minister or president is going to keep his word on this?
What's to say that the Chinese won't pull another Tibet?
True.
Yeah.
Like
What's
we've
to
already
say
seen.
that his own generals won't do a coup?
True. Well, like we've already seen, you know, Trump go through and dismantle everything that Obama's, well, pretty much everything Obama's done. You know, there's precedent to turn around and say, well, the next prime minister or president of America might be so willing to come to the table. You know, like
They have no reason to do so if it's going to get them the political day. Now, even if they do denuclearize, what benefit do they gain from this necessarily? They will be made a satellite state at best of either North Korea or China. So not North Korea, sorry, of America or China. America, South Korea, then through proxy, North America, well, America, and or otherwise China. Most likely it will be through China because China will promise them independence while they slowly take over them. And they'll be able to give them resources directly. But either he chooses to become a satellite of another country, or he keeps his nukes, he keeps his independence, he tries to maintain a strong leadership while doing gradual transition over the next 40 to 100 years towards more of a authoritarian democracy, and most likely a situation similar to either Singapore or China.
Well, he does,
and maintains their independence because it's gone.
Yeah, sorry, I was going to say, from what I understand, the thing that Korea is going to get most out of this is they're going to get the sanctions removed, which is obviously something he'll want, and access to the world trade economy, which would be great for North Korea.
Yeah, exactly. They can sell a bunch of rare earth minerals.
Yeah.
Basically, China will buy a bunch of shit from them and they'll supply them with all the oil they need. He will be able to maintain his dynasty until he's an old man, essentially, then step down, give the control over to a premier of his nation. His family will still remain powerful. His generals will still remain powerful. It will still continue the status quo going. And essentially, the North Korean people are doomed to authoritarian servitude for the next 60 to 80 years.
Do you reckon it'll go through, or do you reckon he's just bluffing?
This is what has been heading towards for a while now. I brought the example up at the Olympics before. You all remember how the mainstream media of the West acted towards his sister during the Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
She's such an image of beauty and poise and grace. What an amazing girl. What a perfect representation of what a modern woman should be. She's the head of their fucking propaganda ministry. She's a monster. She is a fucking bad, evil person.
Yeah, they were really frothing at the lips over that one. Like, it was like, what the no, she's evil. She's, you know.
Well, they're trying to humanize the part of it. And okay, from another perspective, she's also an inspiring figure.
Yeah, well,
to be fair,
sorry, yeah.
She is like the last like she's from a Chute nation. Now, granted, a lot of Luxembourg and classical Marxists will tell you, "Oh, no, we don't associate with them. We don't like them." But when push comes to shove, that's the last representation of the kind of ideological government they want to put through, or at least a step on the way to the ideological government they want put through.
I was about to say that. Yeah, they might like the North Korean setup because it's what the globalization wants, right?
True, there is that.
Yeah.
It's super staged.
Well, she is an inspiring figure for many of these people.
Well, I mean, they won't. If you actually ask even like academic Marxists about Judaism, they will admit that it is the last stage of late stage state capitalism. And some will even admit that it is now progressed into socialism because of the uselessness of the internal currency and the planning system that they go through there. So,
you reckon that? So you guys reckon they might be seeing themselves and seeing an ideal solution, and that's why
they
like
don't
them.
want to demonize what may be a representation of themselves. It maybe when we're wrong about this, but it's at least an idea there could be some sympathy here. It's a believable idea of possibly some sympathetic feelings here.
But this is the weird question for the day is, how is the left going to carry on when we're talking about North Korea and Trump? Like, they can't admit Trump's done a good job on this, right? Because that would be against their beliefs, that they're fundamentally Trump is wacko. Trump is he can't do anything right.
Well, you heard what I just said. They're going to say he's essentially kowtowed to a maniacal dictator and allowed him to maintain his regime. He's stopped trying to defeat the North Korean regime, and he's doomed their people to a generation or 2 generations of servitude. That's an easy narrative, and it's technically a true narrative.
Mm.
You don't have to tell the whole truth. You can just tell that part of the truth. The rest of the truth is that he's de-escalated tensions. He's put them firmly on the path to de-escalation, which is exactly what the rest of the world has been trying to do and wants to do. Trump has done exactly what the rest of the world wanted to do. He just didn't do it the way that they want him to be the one to do it.
Yeah, they wanted to go in bombs blazing, and he's done it peaceful methods.
No. They did it. They wanted this to happen regardless. They wanted North Korea to become one of their satellite states. Pretty much everyone on every side. There's little to be gained by this turning into a nuclear wasteland. The only thing to be gained is Super Nick can eat popcorn and laugh.
True. Where'd he go? He's gone, has he?
Stuff on more Super Nick. Is he still here, mate?
No,
he's not there.
He's bugged off. Anyway,
he must have run off to do some other stuff. Anyway,
good. He's bum shot up.
The point of the matter is that the point of the matter is that supposedly there's theories that they wanted to go in and go bombs blazing, but there's very little to be gained about this. You can just make sure that the Kim family has something to owe you by reinforcing their hold over the nation. And then they give you the rare earth minerals that they have. Beyond that, they don't have much. They're not a very profitable country. That's why nobody gives a shit about them.
Mm.
They're more profitable as a boogeyman than almost anything else.
True. Alright, is there anything else about this North Korea that we should cover, or do you reckon this guy's pretty much it? You want to move on to the final video?
Well, before we move on to the final video, I want to see if I can get Super Nate back, because I reckon you'll really enjoy this.
Okay.
I want his reaction to this. So let me just send a
Hello.
message.
Okay.
I posted the link to my circle that cooked his.
Yeah, I set it up for you.
Okay.
Alright, so just let's fill the air for like 2 minutes and just give Super Nate a chance to get back. He's in West Australia, so his internet might have shit itself.
True. I'll go through a couple of the comments people have been posting in chat, because there's been some interesting stuff there. Mostly actually producers been going off in chat. Not going off, but posting in chat. So, wow. Okay. He said, track your ping. You will see a building near the Pentagon. I don't know if that's true or not. Sat, you might be able to answer that question.
Track your ping.
Yeah.
You might find the Pentagon. That's. I don't fully understand. I don't fully understand the comment, but it's funny.
Okay. Probably true. I'd say yeah, probably good chance it'll be true. I think that used to be a thing back in the old days. People used to do it, and it used to work out. So who knows? I don't think the dark web does it. Okay, I think he's talking about the decentralization there. I'm not quite sure where he's... or censorship, maybe. You can go to the local connection box and reverse the signal too. Cable guy. Blockchain is fascinating. Sensi? I'm not sure what that's in relation to. At the end of the day, all you need are the codes for the BTC. I'm not sure what the BTC is he's talking about.
BTC, Bitcoin.
Okay, cool. Yep.
Yeah.
And then access codes. I think the idea of crypto is trying to make your own crypto coin and get people to buy it with the BTC. and then use the BTC to get Ethereum. Where does all the YouTube Red money go? YouTube Red, does that go to YouTube or does that go to Google still? Is that part of AdSense?
It goes to Colombia.
Oh, welcome back. Okay.
Going to Colombia.
YouTube Red. So basically, I heard some mentions of this from Sargon, because I didn't entirely know, but he mentioned how it's working for him. So I think that's pretty much it. You pay directly to Google. It's a product, like a Netflix subscription.
Okay, so it still goes to Google.
Yes, but during the apocalypse, Sargon mentioned that he was still getting a good amount of money out of the YouTube Red people, because when you pay YouTube Red, you don't see ads.
No.
So the way the content creator gets any kind of gibs is that
My views.
a small. So let's say you watch 5 people, mostly. So if the views are equal across it, then a part of the money that you pay for YouTube Red goes equally across those guys.
Yeah,
and then there'll be little snippets that goes to the other people you watch too.
Yeah, it goes.
That's how
it's split up over a percentage. So if you spend 10% of the time watching my videos, for example, I would get 10% of the YouTube Red money that you give to YouTube.
Yeah.
I was actually.
You still have to be monetized.
Yes, you still have to be monetized.
Monday Matt has told me he makes the most of his money. Monday Matt has told me he makes the most of his money from his news channel through YouTube Red viewers as opposed to actual regular YouTube videos.
Yeah, because people who don't have YouTube Red are using AdBlock, and if you have AdBlock and YouTube Red, it doesn't matter. They still get the views. So the YouTube Red.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, what else? Talking about the Miracles commie upbringing. She's practically has a barcode on her neck. Wow. I'm playing WoW. I'm not writing this, by the way, YouTube. Okay, don't censor me. I'm playing WoW. I presume what's World of Warcraft. Truth Australia wrote, does the autonomous Jew Oblast play a role? I don't get what he means by that. Do we want to explain that? Are we flying too close to the sun on that one?
The autonomous Jew what?
The autonomous Jew?
Post it in chat for you guys.
Okay.
Oh yeah, okay. So let's not touch that for now. If you want to head to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, cool. No worries. Moving along.
Yes. Most likely they do because of in-group preference, because benefit of your in-group. Let's just leave it at that.
And then producer just lolled at the comments, so obviously he gets what he's talking about. I'll get you guys to explain it to me a little later. Okay, so we do have my circle that Cooked has obviously set up. And if you want to go through and just pause it every 30 seconds and we can talk about...
We're about to show you some of the... It's only 2 minutes and 10 seconds, so we can go through the whole thing. But if any of you get particularly triggered, and I'm sure a couple of you will, just shout out stop and I'll stop it. I have the controller. Just is everybody here in the My Circle now? Helena and Superman have joined us for this. Yep.
As you can see,
Nonpartisan, you might want to keep, before you click over to the video Nonpartisan, you might want to make sure that the chat section is...
Yeah, I just saw the chat comments section. Thank you very much. Someone won't be invited.
Full screen this shit.
Done.
Full screen this shit. No, come on. We all in the chat section were just spamming shit.
Yeah.
All right. So just tell me when you're ready, so the audience can watch it as well, and they can get our live reactions to this. I've just seen it a moment ago. You said you may have seen it beforehand.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I know who this is. I think I know what this is going to be. It's a joke thing, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a parody ad for Australia, so it's Australian lefty propaganda. And as I'm sure all the viewers right now have heard the Privilege song and the Internet song, Australia produces the best lefty propaganda. Yeah. We produce some amazing content and some great unintentional humor. So can I just get a sound off for all 6 of us ready to watch this?
Yep, I'm ready.
We have 6 viewers in here.
Cool.
Yeah. Helena, Nikolai, yeah, good. Alrighty. Let's press play.
Hello, I'm from the Australian Government. Now that we have a seat at the Human Rights Council, we'd like to announce our plan for making the world a better place. Selling arms. That's right, our Minister for Defence has just launched the Australian Military Sales Catalogue, full of all your basic essentials for murdering, maiming and blowing. Guns, ammo, rockets, need a tank.
Whoa, we're skipping a little bit. What's going on?
Oh, Jesus.
So I was trying to pause it right there since you already said you're triggered. I just want to say,
you might
would you like to make any comment?
I think you sort of skipped a little bit there. Yeah. So look at the end of the day.
I'll put it back 5 seconds.
Yeah. So the whole sit at the Human Rights Council, isn't that the same one that another particular country is a seat at? That
This isn't playing for me, by the way.
Oh, okay.
It's not. Have you
paused
let
at the
me
moment.
properly?
It's paused. We're not. Yeah, it's paused.
I just see a circle in the middle that's, loading.
Oh, there's something wrong
Okay,
there. We're looking at a light
yeah,
armored
try refresh it.
vehicle.
Yeah.
I did try refreshing it.
I guess the Seppos are not included in this event.
So you try refreshing it and you press the have you clicked on the circle? Because when I try to do this, when I join one, I have to start loading the video. I have to press play before I can actually view their circle because of my ad block.
Actually,
I turned my ad
I'd like
block
to make
off.
a point on the conjecture that selling arms isn't quote unquote a good thing. I think that's a very privileged statement because as Europeans, we've managed to manage our power through a long series of warfare when literally a lot of the underdeveloped world is yet to go through that same stage of brutal warfare. If we can assist and accelerate that process, we would be doing them a favor.
Well, at the end of the day, look, I'm really close to the sun again, aren't we, boys? At the end of the day,
Might I just say that guns channels get banned off YouTube nowadays? Okay.
yeah, I was going to say, look, at the end of the day, if Australia wants to sell guns to the white people of South Africa to defend themselves, there could be a market.
Well, it's also like, see, the only way to reduce the number of warlords in a country is to pick the most acceptable one and then make sure that they are well supplied.
True.
And then eventually he'll expand out and become a proper nation. I mean, that would be a big solution
The
for
monopoly
what's
of
happening in
legitimate
Liberia.
violence will win
But the thing
based
is,
on who has the highest monopoly.
yeah, but at
Yeah.
the end of the day, do you really want a warlord running another country? Like,
That's how our country started.
Well,
That's
that's how
every
governments form.
single country in the world has started and formed, except for Israel.
not really. No, I don't think
Except for
America.
Israel.
America wasn't started by warlords, and Australia wasn't started by
Yeah.
warlords.
That's how the medieval ages went.
Okay, wait. Let's not get off topic here. Nico, have you got the bicycle going? Because this is only a 2-minute
No,
video, and we can get on to all this. Goddamn it! I'm going to send you a direct link to the video.
No, fuck it.
You'll want to watch this. I want your reaction to this as well.
Fine.
Trust me, you're not gonna love it, but it's gonna be great. I just sent you a DM. Just load that up and make sure it will run.
Didn't it send me? No, there it is.
Yeah,
Facebook.
the Facebook video. Yeah, I know. I'm still positive enough to have a Facebook account.
I won't say that word. Okay, whatever.
Alright, cool, I can hear the background of everything. So when I say we're going to press play, just hit play on your end. And if I hear you shouting out, I'll stop at my circle and you can pause as well, okay? Oh, well, he's watching right now.
Yeah, alright. Let's discuss it.
Alright, so I will press play from 15 seconds in because I was going to rerun it for the start for him.
Yep.
Or seconds in. Sorry if guys, if anyone... Yeah, true, may as well. Alright,
Anyway, getting back to my point. A sit on the Human Rights Council doesn't really mean shit because other nations have that same seat, and they don't really respect human rights very
They
well.
don't really care the laws or the rights for countries.
do they?
Exactly.
We won't mention particular
Alright,
names.
Let's press play.
I think what this young lady is getting at is that a seat on the Human Rights Council is also highly correlated with being huge sellers of firearms.
True.
Light arms, armor.
Possibly.
Yeah, it's just, yeah.
It is weird how
keep
all
watching.
these human rights countries seem to sell guns, doesn't it?
Well, I don't want to paraphrase an alien from a science fiction.
We need to give humans the rights to defend themselves.
No,
against the xenos.
I'm just saying it's just weird how all these
In
human
parentheses.
rights. Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah. So all the members of human rights countries are giving humans the right to defend themselves with arms against xenos in parentheses, and that is as close as I promise. I'll get you channel T flagged.
Okay, let's go. Let's do it.
Let's go. All right.
Where is it going?
No, he has to hit play.
Nope. Someone has to hit play. It's not me.
Hello, I'm from the Australian government. Now that we have a seat at the Human Rights Council, we'd like to announce our plan for making the world a better place.
Pause.
Selling arms. That's right.
Did you see that they didn't spell Australia right? They said Australian government. Some fucking weird shit there. Okay, get going. This is a small point.
What the fuck? What the fuck? You're right. What the fuck? Okay,
Yeah.
let's continue. One second. We're just watching the video now. Just get your rage ready. I'm just time something great.
Minister for Defence has just launched the Australian Military Sales Catalogue, full of all your basic essentials for murdering, maiming and blowing up humans. Guns, ammo, rockets, need a tank. We've got it, and so much more. But don't worry, we'll only sell weapons to our friends and allies, like Saudi Arabia, which is currently slaughtering thousands in Yemen, triggering a massive cholera outbreak. It's also the world's leading sponsor of terrorism. But that didn't stop our piney from going there to make some sweet deals. Or Indonesia, which needs all the help it can get from us to carry out its ongoing genocide in West Papua. And the Philippines, where Aussie-made guns might one day be used by this maniac to shoot women in the wait, what the f***? It's all part of our death policy, to turn Australia into one of the world's top 10 exporters of arms, so Australia can profit directly from escalating wars, which in turn will create more refugees to whom we can turn our backs when they flee to our shores. It's a perfect plan. That's why we're investing $200 billion into debt, most of which will go to offshore defence contractors, who just happen to be...
I'm gonna pause it for a second. Guys, would you like to elaborate?
Oh my fucking god. Okay,
which part did you guys get to?
So I got
a minute and a half.
1 minute
Sorry,
13.
10 seconds. A minute 10 seconds.
I don't know the fucking time exactly. Just tell me what she said.
When she's talking about after the Papua New Guinea stuff, and then after the Manus Island in Nauru, and how
we're going to turn our backs.
We're responsible for refugees. We need to take them in, guys. Take them in.
Triggers.
Yeah, she's a
Australian
dumb bitch,
citizenship for everyone right now.
This is the narrative of the left. Whatever. The narrative of the left. They always go down this
so I
route.
can rant about it.
So let me get this straight. They want us to accept a whole bunch of people that have just grown up in a country that is war-torn, that has probably suffered from PTSD. How is this a good thing?
Hey, I wonder if these refugees, if they perhaps had some military weapons, if they could have stopped this from happening, it's then in an extra. Let's continue. Let's continue and let Miko rant, because we have a minute left. Just try to hold it in, guys. I know it makes you want to fucking kill somebody. And hey, maybe soon we'll have the weapons to do so.
Hopefully.
Some of our most generous donors. Why didn't we invest that money into our car manufacturers, which will go to offshore defence contractors, who just happen to be some of our most generous donors? Why didn't we invest that money into our car manufacturing industry, or into renewables, or into medical research to prevent dementia, the second leading cause of death in Australia? The answer, of course, is that here at the Australian government, we're a bunch of seriously sick motherfuckers. That's why we're not only planning to export arms, Dutto's also trying to change our laws so we can have more guns inside Australia. And if you don't like it, well, you're dead to him. Boom. So what you waiting for? As Piney says,
do yourself a favour and go out and get the military sales catalogue.
Piney's Whorehouse.
Lowest morals are just the beginning. Authorised by the Department for blowing up people whose orphan children will later deny a refugee visa. Unless they're white South African farmers.
Oh, it's not like there's one group of people who are more culturally compatible to us. Oh no, just everyone. Come on, just everyone right now.
Yeah, okay, so there's a lot to say about that video. I originally saw this video a while ago. Okay, so first of all, I'm sorry that you grew up in a war zone, but I'm not going to go giving you citizenship. Stiff shit. If you come on boat, I'm going to send you back on boat.
I'm very triggered.
Yeah.
I've got something to say too. Just tell me when I can rant.
Alright. Secondly, I do agree with the fact that we should be putting the money into the car market to prop up like Holden and stuff like that, because that's obviously great jobs for us and stuff like that. Sorry? Okay. I agree with that point.
I disagree. Well, we can get to that later.
Yeah, sure.
We can get to that later, but I disagree with that one point.
Alright. Apart from that, I like the fact that we're now changing the gun laws to allow Australians to have guns again. That would be sweet.
Oh, that'd be good.
That would be alright. But yeah, at the end of the day, look, obviously we know this is just leftist propaganda, and I'm sorry, but we have enough problems in this country already with the certain demographics and population that, and I'm not just talking about one certain group here, but, you know, one demographic and one religion that wants to seem to riot and blow people up and kill people. Do we really want more of these people in our country? I'm saying no, probably not. But
genocide.
Yeah, well, it is a form of killing yourself, or genocide in a way, because you're basically bringing in what are you going to do? Bring in a whole bunch of terrorists.
So, who'd like to put their hand up to talk next?
Let's go with that.
Mikoi, do you have any comments as an American to how this delightful woman presented all this?
She's clearly a stupid bitch. She thinks that, you know, selling weapons is like the worst thing in the world because, oh no, people are violent, so we shouldn't give them tools to be violent so that, you know, it can eventually lead to peace, because this dumb bitch doesn't know how the fucking world works. Almost all of our countries were paved through violence. Like, it's stupid to think that, you know, you can have this shit by just being peaceful little faggots and all that.
But that's their view. That's their dystopian view that we're going to live in.
And their view is wrong.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's what they believe. They believe that if enough people come in and enough people mix and colonize and we all get along like Starfleet.
Yeah, I know what they believe.
Yeah. They
believe that racism is the biggest enemy and all that stuff, and it's the reason why all bad things happen in the world. Whenever in reality, it's because people are violent. It's all.
Anybody else got anything to say? I know Satellite wanted to say something.
I'll keep myself to the
end. Yeah, you want?
No, it's okay. I'll get into it. So, it's pretty typical of the left to play these narratives. So, I get this a lot. I'll hear it from family. Basically, one of the main arguments is that we send military to other countries, you know, foreign policy basically, and we destabilize these countries, and they blame it all on, you know, the citizenry of the country is responsible because we vote these leaders who then send our military, and by extension, it's our brothers, our sons, our daughters, etc., who are going to these countries too, because citizens become military who then go to these countries and so-called commit atrocities. The thing is, right, from my perspective, if I was in power, I wouldn't have my military going to these countries and destabilizing them. But the thing is, it's not really destabilization because these countries are shitholes. So it doesn't really matter, okay, whether we were there or not.
Destabilized from the very beginning.
They're already destabilized.
Sure.
The thing is that they, you know, our leaders see a destabilized country, so they go in there because it's about exploitation. I mean, there is a certain element of exploitation. But at the end of the day, my stance on it is that we shouldn't be getting involved in third world countries, and we shouldn't be taking in refugees from third world countries. Now, it's a little bit harder to justify the latter when you are involved in that country in some way, but at the end of the day, I know that I never was asked by my government in any kind of referendum or voting or anything to say that should we have foreign policy to do with these countries, should we have our soldiers in these countries. No one voted on it, so it's the same as the immigration policy itself. Nobody voted on it. So these two things in combination makes it that the people responsible is our officials in our government, who are screwing us not only militarily, because we lose lives in our military when we're in these countries, but on top of that, we also have to take in these people because somehow we're responsible for destabilizing their country. Well, she's a dumb bitch. She's hot, but I would not fuck her.
She's getting paid as a model.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You'd hate come on, you'd hate fuck her. You'd hate fuck her, to be honest.
But at the end of the day,
probably
look, she probably doesn't even believe. She probably doesn't even believe what she's saying. She's like you say, she's an actress. She's just...
No. She's obviously dumb enough to believe it. Otherwise, if she had any more, she wouldn't be speaking what she said. Yeah. She does this shit all the fucking time, and you know that as well as I do. You just think she's hot, so you want to give her.
Yeah. I mean, the point that I'm trying to get at is that this whole idea that. See, the thing is, even if we didn't have soldiers in those countries, they'd still be saying that we have to be some kind of moral people and take them in.
Yeah. True. They're always going to fall back on that narrative.
I agree.
Lefty propagandists will grab onto anything they can. And the gun argument is a proxy to it. Us having soldiers there actually hasn't got anything to do with taking in the immigrants. But they try to latch onto anything they can to justify it.
Well, I'd say
incrementalism.
Oh.
I'd actually say that places like Iraq and whatnot have not become. Well, they have become more stable in a way. Sure. Look, obviously, and this is where obviously America does go through, like Libya, for example, and destabilize countries. But at the end of the day, the majority of the countries that they have gone into are already, like you say, destabilized. They're already killing each other in civil war. Sure, America and the UN and all that does.
Even in Libya was a wealthier North Korea. You either let them maintain or you end up destabilizing. I disagree with how they did it, what they did, but you can see the argument for it still. Now, what I will disagree with is I actually don't have the same stance that we shouldn't be bothering intervening with any countries at all. I think sometimes the intervention that Australia does is incredibly good. It is not just destabilization. It is both protection of our own national security interests and our allies. Other than that, I pretty much agree with what you said.
I just don't think that we could be nannies for anybody.
No, we don't need to. We don't need to.
It does cost a lot of money to do that.
It is to our advantage. It is to our advantage, I'd say. That's my argument. That's a different day. That's a different day.
If we can make these countries more stable, then we can send them all back.
Send them all back to a certain camp.
Dude. No, they're not going back. It's like the Viet Minis over here already. Technically, their country is stable, but are they going back? No,
True.
They're never going back.
Never, ever.
True.
Okay, now, so, Super Neat, hold on to your thoughts for a second, because I want to let Helena go quickly, because my circle was screwing up for her, but she's just watched this, that's why she came in very hot just then. I'm so sure she has a lot to say about that last little statement, the subtitles, if you guys saw those on the Bunnings Warehouse. Helena, would you like to elaborate on what you just saw?
It's almost like you're supposed to have sympathy for refugees unless they're white South Africans.
But that was directly the fucking statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also implies that your government only cares about refugees if they're white, which I'm sure is not the case. But yeah. If you're white,
there's one guy.
It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's one guy in our government who has been fighting for your rights heavily, which is Peter Dutton. And that is why she made that comment of, "You're dead to him," and put the gun to the screen, is because he said to the reporters that were slandering him, saying that he's a bigot and a racist for wanting to get the white South Africans out of South Africa and give them visas. They said that he's a racist, bigoted, a horrible person, right? And he said, the media who's doing this, they're fucking dead to me. I don't give a shit what they think or what they say, they're dead to me. And that is the comment she's making. They're saying, oh, look at this bastard. He wants to give Australians rights to have, practical gun laws. But hey, if you're against him, then you're dead to him, because apparently he doesn't like the genocide of white South Africans.
Who does?
And
well, apparently they do.
Well, apparently the rest of our media does.
I also have a bit of a problem too, where it turns around and we're flying a little close to the sun here again. We're coming in for recharge. But it's really funny how they say that they want welcome the refugees. If you're coming from a war zone or anything like that, you're welcome. Come to Australia. Unless you're white, then you have to stay in that war zone. It's like,
yeah, pretty much.
If you ask me, the biggest people at the moment that need refugee status are the people that are currently been genocided over in South Africa, the white farmers. Helen, you can come to Australia if I have my way. But I was going to say, but at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is that it's interesting how the left doesn't want them to come here. It's like, we'll accept everybody, but those white folks. It's like, you're showing your hand here a little bit. There's that narrative again. That
Well, they will call you a murderer. You want people to
just
die.
mention, Helena, you have a friend who just had her husband attacked. Just mention that if you'd like.
It's been said a lot in the media also that it's white supremacist propaganda, the whole genocide in South Africa. Just earlier today, a woman I teach with, she wasn't at school. We found out her husband was shot 5 times yesterday on their farm.
Holy dooly.
Jesus Christ.
Luckily, he was on the phone with somebody when it happened, and they heard and they synced over at their neighborhood watch, because you can't rely on the police.
Jesus Christ, that is probably one of the most tragic. They say he's on the phone, he hears the gunshots, and he calls the neighborhood watch, not the police of your country, the nation which you're citizens of, which you fucking founded.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Could you imagine that satellite or Mikoi?
Nope.
Wow.
Especially because I'd have a gun to the
goddamn
attacker's
wow.
Luckily,
But I mean,
he's still
your
alive.
friend,
He
he's
lost a lot of blood,
yeah.
but he is
Yeah.
he survived thanks to.
Yeah. Well,
how the hell
Our
do you
little
survive
neighborhood
being shot 5
so-
times?
hey, 50 Cent got shot
Being
9
shot
times.
is not really as bad as people think it is.
True.
It's mostly trauma and shock that kills you after that.
True.
But if it's treated fast enough,
Yeah,
you have a
It
really
did
high
happen.
chance of survival.
Yeah, it
I'd
missed
say
all
something
vital
about it too,
organs.
but get your flag.
Yeah, it missed all vital organs, but he was shot like through his shoulder and through his wrist, which is why he lost so much blood.
Oh wow, he got actually
Yeah.
might have got shot.
He
in
got
the
really
artery.
lucky. He got really, really lucky. He got shot through his wrist. Alright, we don't need to go into details of this. I thank God your friend's husband's alive, and I hope they get to Australia as well. Speaking of which, have you applied for your fucking visa yet?
I'm working on it. I need a job first before I can get my work visa.
Does anyone have a
Oh,
job?
so
Anybody in chat have a job that they can give Helena as a teacher or something? That
as a teacher, honestly, like, would you like to work like in a warehouse doing just like computer stuff? I might be able to fucking get my old boss to things up.
I'll take anything.
I'll take anything just to get out of the country.
I will actually give him a bloody call next week for you.
But this is what I'm saying, is at the end of the day, the people over there are the people that need the citizenship the most. And it's like, we'll accept anybody except them white folk. Well, it's like, why do you not want to accept those refugees? Why are you refusing those ones? It obviously has to do with race. You've literally, she's been racist in this ad. This ad is actually racist against the white folks.
Okay,
Like none of us have come to expect anything different.
True.
Yeah, so what Miko here said is absolutely correct. It's perfect. It's and as far as we don't expect anything different, and they are not willing to do anything different. If you are not a self-hating white man, you are a racist monster, and you are perpetuating death, murder, and the horrible actions. Now, super neat. I just purposely tried to I know this is Nonpartisan's live stream, but I pulled this video up, and I thought I'd just get one to have it say. I wanted to keep you for last.
He's definitely
because I thought. Okay, can someone shoot him a message and say, tell him we want to rant? I just like keep him for last so he could calm himself down and not get your stream flagged. And until he comes back, I'll just say, okay, there's a few things that I'd like to say about this.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why we're selling arms to foreign countries, not just producing them ourselves, is because we need to be able to produce our own military fucking weapons, as well as our own weapons that we can give to our civilians if needed. We can't rely on buying them from other nations. We need to have some sort of manufacturing capability within our country, given our position geographically and our relations with various countries of the world.
Yeah, well,
this is a way that makes it so it's a profit.
Yeah, it's going to be a good boost to the economy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we're the only first world country on this side of the planet.
It doesn't, and we don't produce our own until now. Now, it's not only going to allow us to produce it for a profit, but it's going to allow us to equip our military with the latest and greatest and best of the best military technology. It's going to allow us to get rid of our old technology.
True.
Arming our civilian populace to minor things is going to allow super neat. We'll probably bring a story here of how because he lives on a farm, he needed to get a gun in order to shoot foxes that were going in and killing his animals.
True.
Yeah.
They gave him a 22 long rifle. Oh, here you go, mate. I'll see you back. I was just saying that.
Fuck all. Oh, I was listening.
Yeah.
No, it's one of those situations where, because where I was, I had to jump through like a lot of hurdles, and I was on proper farmland. Where I'm sitting right now, I had to pay to have the copper laid down for this internet connection. This is a private line. I'm probably the only person within a couple hundred meters of myself, and yet now I've got like alpacas, as everyone knows. I had to personally prove to the council on my own money, buying motion sensor cameras to place around my property, that there were foxes, because I was wondering, I didn't really see them during the day, and you don't really, it's mostly probably about like 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. in the morning. I was wondering why the alpacas were spooking into this little shed I made for them. So I was like, okay, well, there's animals. I went and spoke to my neighbor. I was like, yeah, no, there's foxes around here. Your fence might be good enough, but they can burrow under it. He was like, I suggest you go and get a firearm. It's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to take a lot of time, and you're going to need to have ample proof, and it's only going to be conditional. Because the current status of the council that I'm in, they changed the land from farmland to development. I had that rifle taken away from me. I was compensated below market price, and that was on purpose. And yeah, just because there's still foxes here, there's still everything here. But you're in development. It's going to become suburbia soon.
Okay, so can I ask you a few questions about that situation? Sorry, if there's a question first. It's your stream. You should have priority here.
I was going to say, so this is what they do, doesn't it? At the end of the day, when they say your development soon. Well, what do they define as soon? 10 years? 15? 20 years? How many?
In my case, it's 5.
Yeah, so how many alpacas are you going to lose in 5 years if you don't have something to defend yourself?
I lost 1 last year, and this year's been pretty good because I've managed to keep my fence up, and I've put some guardian animals in there with them, notably German Shepherd. But yeah, I probably will lose at least 2 more before that time.
Yeah. And what does an alpaca cost, roughly, to buy?
Oh, geez. The ones I've got are upwards of about $5,000.
So you're going to lose about 15 grand in 3 animals in 5 years, just while the government stuffs around claiming that you're developed.
Yeah. Okay, and so to follow that question up, and sorry if I had more questions on Nonpartisan, but this is just directly on that topic.
That's right.
So you mentioned that you had to get motion sensor cameras. You had to prove on your own dime. You had to spend a lot of time out of your valuable working hours in order to get this done. So can you give us a rough idea for a lot of people who are listening who have no idea what gun law is like in Australia, and even us Australians who, while I've heard many, many horror stories, even directly from you, I've never had to get a firearm for myself because I have never lived in a rural area, and realistically, I cannot get one unless I want to join a shooting range and go through way too many fucking hurdles to make it even worthwhile, including actually keep my firearm down at the fucking shooting club.
Yep, absolutely. That's non-negotiable, buddy. I had to go to Bunnings, a specialized rural Bunnings, to buy a safe, and I had to go and get the truck I have is a Hilux, Toyota Hilux. It's actually quite good at towing. The safe was so heavy that it maxed out the suspension on the back wheels.
Yeah.
So I had to go find a friend with a towing truck in a trailer, a heavy-duty trailer, to get that to my place.
Yeah, a Hilux is one of the best work trucks in the fucking world, by the way.
Yeah.
I just for reference, it is in where I am. I'm in Canberra, but in most Australian cities, if I want to get a gun, I will have to go to the shooting range to do it, and I have to keep my gun locked up at the shooting range, as well as pay a monthly fee. Now, so Simeon, what I want to ask you is, how long did this take you to get the gun? What was the caliber? Because the Americans will laugh at us of that. And how much do you think the total cost was?
Long rifle, literally pea shooter. I shot one fox during the entire time. Normally, I'll just discharge it into the ground, and that would spook them or something like that.
Scare them off.
It was. If you actually shoot them, you have to deal with the local ranger, because you have to basically record one dead fox, and the local ranger gets super anal about shooting foxes, even though they're pests. So basically, I shot one. It didn't die, so I had to go and deal with it within close range because a 22 was simply not enough to kill it firing center of mass. Simply not enough.
So let me get this straight. You've got a gun that took you. How long did it take you to get the gun?
Used to have.
Used to. So how long did it take you to get the gun?
Luckily, when the council actually said that you maybe need a gun, it was relatively quick. It was like a month and a bit.
But I mean, you had to prove that.
Yeah, it's pathetic. I can get a gun in 3 days.
But you had to prove. You had to prove it and everything. So like, what was the total time to get the gun?
So,
the total time was
when
half
you realize
a year.
the problem. There you go. That's reality. And he got his on quickly. For most people, it would be a year. It was so that's super neat. Excluding the cost that you sold it for, you can tell us the cost that they bought it back for. How much was the total cost, including cameras that you bought? Let's ignore the time you spent setting up the cameras and everything else, but the cameras that you bought, the licenses that you paid for, etc., etc. And then give us a total amount of hours, if you can estimate it, of how long you had to spend going through all the legalese bullshit to get this.
Oh god, it was literally just weeks of doing paperwork after paperwork. It wasn't so much the paperwork time. The time I spent doing the paperwork wasn't long, but it was I would be filling out something every 3 days because it was just obstructionism. I bought 5 $80 PIR motion sensor cameras, real cheap ones, just from Jekka, and just put them around my property. The solar power ones. So when I sent it into the council the first time, I said, okay, this is what I'm dealing with. Can you forward this onto the ranger to confirm it? They immediately had they thought it was a dog that I put in front of the camera originally. So I had to get a high quality photo of a fox.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Keep going, man. This is important.
It just gets horrendously worse from there. So I basically had to, when the ranger saw the photos, it was yeah, that's a fox. It was fucking obvious from the get-go, but the bureaucrats of the council were oh, well, we actually want a higher resolution photo. Oh, well, we can't see that clear enough. I put these these cameras just outside of the alpaca paddock, and you can see that what the behavior that they're doing, because there's multiple pictures of it, was stalking. It was obviously stalking, low to the ground. It's like tall grass out there because the alpacas haven't got to it to graze it. It was, yeah, it was just a fucking nightmare.
So how long did it take from you to set up cameras, to go through, get the cameras, set them all up, go through, get the firearm? What was the rough time, do you reckon, to get all this sorted?
4.5 months. About 4.5 months.
So it took you 4.5 months of setting this all up to get a firearm, to which the government then turn around later and claim that you're now a development block in 5 years.
Yeah, 2 years later. 2 years later.
Yeah. So now we're going to take your gun.
Let me interrupt here. How much did you have to purchase the firearm for? Just to blow the Americans' minds.
Well, we're talking about a 22 Ruger here. Actually, I'm going to get the market price before I fucking say it.
Was that even a long rifle?
Yeah, 22 Luger long rifle is a bolt action.
A bolt action?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Australia, you can't get a clip of Australia. What are you talking about?
That's like a survival
nearly
gun
$1
here.
grand. It was nearly a grand. Nearly a grand Australian. And in US, they cost about... Actually, it was without a scope. About 350. Same one.
Yeah, so over double the price that you pay, man. Nico?
Oh, and by the way, it was rimfire, so I couldn't even fucking reload the cartridges. I had to buy ammunition at $1 a bullet. When I went to Pennsylvania Chambersburg and I saw they were selling 500 fucking 22 LR for like what, 50 US?
For a couple dollars.
Shat myself. Yeah. I wanted to die. I was sitting in that little fucking Dick's hardware store. Or was it? No, Dick's Sporting Goods store. Before they fucking went full on cuck. And I was just looking at this little box of like, what was it? It's like Federal Eagle or some bullshit like that. I don't even know what it's called.
Yeah.
And I was just looking at it, just wanting to fucking die then and there.
Yeah, so this is the Australian gun laws, people. And so just a final bit of information, I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, how much did they buy that gun back for you? How much did you get to sell that gun back to the government when they did a buyback?
Oh, it was the quote-unquote buyback, or we're gonna... It was about... Fuck. Actually, how much was it? Because I totally forgot, because it's... I don't really memorize purchases unless I actively make the decision, but I'll see if I can find it real quick. But it was below 350 US. I think it was about 200 US.
Wow.
So it was about a third of the price, roughly.
No, one-fifth of the price. 1/5 of the price. Oh no, actually,
yeah, so about a fourth of the price, yeah. So a fourth, between a fourth and a third.
So 200 US is roughly about 300.
Ammunition, yeah. Yeah.
That's
so, Nikolai, how would you like to adopt Australian gun laws like Mr. Bernie wants?
I would actually go and kill him in the street in front of his family.
Figuratively speaking, he is talking about figuratively speaking. He's not making a threat on Bernie Sanders.
Of course, it's all figuratively. Yes. It's definitely not a promise.
No.
He is representing the figurative opinion that many Americans might have if you wanted to adopt this kind of gun laws in America. And I just thought I'd get in super need to go through that because so you guys can understand, the audience particularly, of why Mr. Dutton, our favorite MP, wants to relax the gun laws in Australia.
Because all the criminals
basically don't have freedom to get a gun.
Yeah, and because we know the fact that criminals are just going to walk into the local cop shop and hand over their firearms. It's illegal to own a firearm, so why would they want to keep them anymore, right? Like, it's not like they're criminals.
Well, that's the thing I should bring up. Wait, that's the other thing we should bring up. Super Name, how far drive do you live away from your local cop shop?
God, the nearest one would be about an hour and a half.
So
Okay, and now how many cops does that cop shop have in it? Less than 10?
Fuck all, like
at best?
five.
Two? Yeah,
It's got like the constable, quote unquote constable, and then it's got just a whole bunch of like highway officers because the nearest road to me is just one giant fucking highway that extends off past the Nullarbor.
So
Okay.
have you ever?
So if you had a break in your house,
I
Sorry,
had an
sorry,
attempted
sorry,
one.
sorry.
Yeah, I was,
and you had to call the cops.
yeah. How long would it take?
I
Sorry,
did-
sorry.
But I think we're going to have the
no,
same
I-
question here, actually. How long would it take the
Yeah,
cops
I
to
think
come
so.
out?
It'll probably be morning. Like they literally close down or stop, quote unquote, patrolling at midnight.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
Stop.
Yeah,
patrolling.
there's no one left at rural cop shops in the middle of the night in Australian country
Hang on.
towns.
Like,
You're
Your
not like
police
guns to defend
officers-
yourself.
Your police
Yeah,
officers stop patrolling.
they
opening
stop
hours.
patrolling and they sit in their little thing and wait for call-ins. There'll be like a graveyard shift crew. If you want a quicker response, you have to go to the ranger. And then the ranger isn't going to make any arrests because he can't make any arrests, but he's just going to show up anyway in something that looks like a police car.
Like I live a couple hours away from town, and even I can get somebody out here within 5 minutes.
His best chance is about like what, 6 hours?
My
Even in the
best
middle of the
chance-
day, about 3 hours, 4 hours.
Yeah. No. My best chance is the fucking nearly 200 pounds of canine that I have. That's my best chance. In fact, that's what stopped the first break-in because we had damage to the front fence that basically there's like a dirt road that comes up to the property. We had damage to the front fence. And that's how we knew. And then we looked at the little CCTV cameras my uncle put into this place. And then we saw some like shadowy figures moving and stuff like that. And then across the dirt road, all the way back to a whole bunch of gouges from where a car like span up without traction, was a trail of blood. And I assumed that he either cut himself on the fence or my dog got to him. But my dog was had like saliva all up and down the side of his face and was roaming that part of the property in the morning. So I assumed it was probably my dog, a Rottweiler.
I'm presuming that they caught themselves on the fence, and I'm presuming that the dog might have got to an animal, and that's why there was blood.
We don't want the dog to get put down, remember? So the dog did not actually do anything. It just scared him away and then it hunted them rabbit.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure the dog got into the livestock or something. And
oh no, I've already been through this when I reported it. It's alright.
Alright. But what I was going to say was, well, I know, for example, I won't say what city.
Australia's laws are fucked.
I won't say what city I'm in, but at the end of the day, I was going to say last time I called the cops because someone was chasing me down in a car, it took them over 2 hours to come to me, and I live in a city.
Bear in mind, that's a fucking city he lives in.
Yeah, that's a city.
I had a friend who had a suicide attempt, and they had 2.5 hours. If they were actually doing it for real,
they'd be dead.
Then they would have been fucked.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, on the point on dogs, advice to doggos in Australia is put your dog through the RSPCA training program, because later when that dog gets, if anything happens around that canine, the RSPCA will stick their neck out for you if that dog's been through that training program.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, because it looks bad on the training program if they don't, if the dog actually gets in trouble.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had no problem. I just want to ask a question to your audience and then to ask and to you. To Americans in the audience, how do you feel that this is what the left wants as your gun laws? And Nonpartisan, has there any good comments during a super neat story?
Okay, so there's been a lot of comments, so we'll just sort of nick through a couple of them. Metal Storm, this will be would this gun be legal in Australia? Schedule 1. Not sure what he's talking about there.
What is it?
Metal Storm. Would this gun be legal in Australia? I think he's talking about the gun she holds up. No way. No way in hell that would be legal.
No. The Metal Storm fire system would be considered not only automatic, but also a weapon of war.
Yeah. they've deliberately found the gun that is the most terrifying they could possibly imagine to make it
Federal
look worse.
time.
Yep. Leader,
You'll be doing fucking hard time in federal jail.
Oh yeah. I think it even had a grenade launcher on the bottom of it or something, didn't it? I don't know. I have to check that.
It's just an attachment.
Yeah. The ladders of Bunnings are made with cheap prison labour. Interesting point, isn't it? Someone else.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Truth Australia says to the moon. Truth Australia says Google employees are taking a stand against AI and warfare. Yeah, I actually have heard about that. Maybe cover that in maybe a future stream.
Oh, good luck with that. AI and warfare is going to be so destructive.
I think Google employees are fighting a new form of AI warfare, in the sense of soft war, not hot war.
Actually, for the audience,
I don't care. That stuff's gonna be so destructive.
Well, I was going to say for the audience,
let's leave it for later.
AI has for the audience, Satellite has actually done a topic on AI. I can actually link that in the description below. It was actually an interesting chat, so please go check that out. We actually talk about different forms of AI.
We'll do part 3 soon.
Oh, cool. So
we're going to do part 3. We've also done one on cryptocurrency too.
Sweet, cool. I'll put a link for that as well. Muck documentary redone. Facial recognition. Forget the name. Producer says, as long as we put the children of the billionaires on the front lines, I have no problems. You know that won't happen. Truth Australia says we should be taking any target South A farmers. I know immigrants get. Sorry, start again. We should be taking any targeted South Australian farmers. I know many immigrants, great hard-working people. Yeah, we have one in the chat right now. I believe she's still in the chat. Is Helena still in the chat?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, at the end of the day, farmers are generally normally hard-working people, so totally agree. Producer, son of the Firestorm.
We need more.
Yeah. Producer says, son of the Firestorm founder, there was a Marine. Okay. So apparently the son of the Firestorm was a Marine. Don't know about that. Producer says, interesting. Truth Australia says, how would an uprising be perceived here in Australia? Not very well.
Well, it's in WA
or by Chinese.
In WA there's a lot of talk about secession, and that's simply because of how the tax breakup works over here, and then our relative lack of infrastructure.
Look at nonpartisan. Would you vote against their right to secede? Because I know it would not benefit any of the other 3 Australians here, but I would respect your rights to secede, and then I'd probably move to Western Australia.
Well,
If WA seceded, I'd move to WA.
I don't think it'll happen.
It's just one of those things.
Super Neat and I have gone through this discussion at length. I think it was like a 4-hour conversation.
Wait, nonpartisan. Would you vote for their right to secede, or would you, if you're going to referendum, or would you disagree with it?
It depends on what you mean, as in, like, so you mean like them go full on republic?
They create their own government that's separate, allied, and possibly even like a European Union, so Australian Union. So with New Zealand as well, it's situated in all 3 countries, but the Western Australia has control of their own tax, all the tax that comes from Western Australia, their own resources, and their own laws.
Well, it depends on what the war. Like, obviously, look, if they want us to succeed, go for it. It's not going to work, but go for it. I'll help you, accelerationism. But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, if they got some decent gun laws and stuff like that over there and stuff, then hell, I might make a move over there.
Well, to be honest, if they're going to secede, you should make the move over there just purely because the rest of Australia will go bankrupt.
Nah, well, you and I disagree on that. But anyway, producer, I heard the Chinese own all the oil in Australia. Truth.
Western Australia will own us.
I'd actually say that there was a oil rig being serviced off the coast of Perth for about 4 months straight, and people from Perth will know what I'm talking about in this instance. It was called Eagle 1. Eagle, obviously referencing that actually it was an American oil rig. There is one Chinese company. There are 7 American companies, specifically targeting just off the Gascoyne region, Exmouth, off Darwin, Karratha. So there's some sites in the Northern Territory in Queensland, and then there's one site off the New South Wales, and there's a potential site in the Strait of Tasmania. But it's mostly American, as always.
Okay. Truth Australia says buying cheap gas. Truth Australia is going to hunt. Producer, men in Australia. Sorry. So again, producer, man, Australia is nuts. Truth, haha, hunting armed citizens is going to keep the government honest. Yeah, definitely. If you want your government to be honest, definitely a way to do it. That's for sure.
I have a tiny bit of echo. Cooked.
Yeah, I'm getting from.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize my phone fucks up sometimes. Let me just fix that.
That's fine. Truth Australia, wild dogs here in New South Wales are very bad. Producer says the idea. Sorry, I hate the idea of hunting licenses. Producer, some fat ex-army guys staring at you from a jeep. Breathing down your neck. Where is your permit? This is actually better than these wars in the Middle East, if you ask me. Imagine if they took the money from those wars and gave it to people. 10k a gun. Something or other gun control. And Truth Australia says our license is competency based, not tags. Producer, it's sad when we do this to our own species. Truth, actually tags for ruse are professional shooters. Producer, hey Croc, where your permit for that dingo pub? And Truth Australia, if you had to break in, you may call sheriff. Oh, you may call self-defense. Yeah. Okay, so the problem with self-defense the problem with self-defense in Australia, it doesn't really fly real well. Yeah.
If you have a break-in in Australia and you end up doing grievous bodily harm to the person who's broken in, you will get charged for assault and GBH.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if they're stealing your shit. It doesn't matter if they threaten your life in that sense. Unless you can prove that you were in imminent danger, so unless you basically have defensive wounds and prove that they were armed, then if you, say, grabbed a knife off your table and fought back against the person, you will be charged with assault. You will be charged with GBH. You may even be charged with attempted murder. In Australia, you're supposed to just put your hands up, let them steal your shit, and hope that they don't kill you. Nicoy, how do you feel about that?
There are some states in America that are like that, where you basically have to run, and the only time that you're allowed to fight back is if you're cornered.
Like even in Australia, if you have like a baseball bat or whatever, it also goes on about intent and everything like that. It is so complicated to claim self-defense.
Yeah.
Well, there's too much
I have
precedent.
somebody who comes to my house and fights me, and I get a trolley pole and beat him senseless with I knock him out with it. I'm going to get charged. I may not see jail time, but I will get charged and I'll be on probation. Guaranteed fucking.
And then when you get charged, you lose your firearms because you have a criminal record.
One of the things I liked about America, especially while I was in Pennsylvania, was the castle doctrine. That was one of the most interesting doctrines for self-defense, especially on your own private property that I've ever seen.
What's that?
Yes, the castle doctrine is basically like if somebody comes onto your land, you're basically able to do whatever you want to them.
Oh,
to a reasonable degree. To a reasonable degree.
Yeah.
For self-defense. Castle doctrine can also apply out on the streets normally, just to defend your own person. Certain states have it, like Texas. The state that I live in, Ohio, has it like to basically where any of your property you're allowed to defend up to like your car and stuff. But you're not allowed to just be on the sidewalk and just gun someone down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of makes sense.
On the property side of things, or like the house side of things, my friend over there was explaining it to me. He said that basically if someone comes into my property and it's they're either showing malicious intent, destroying property, or trying to break in, I'm allowed to use rounds of a reasonable caliber, and he said set all the way up to 45 ACP or even buckshot to defend to attack them directly even if they technically haven't provoked him or something like that. But it can't be malicious rounds. Like, you're not allowed to use you're meant to use inside the house. You're meant to use frangible rounds, but if you use fragmentating rounds, like hollow point or something, then technically you might get fucked for that because that causes unnecessary damage.
That's gonna kill somebody.
You can use any round you really want, depending on the state.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that the same laws that Texas has? Does Texas have those as well?
Texas basically has the loosest gun laws in America.
So if I ever want to move to America, I've moved to Texas. Sweet.
I think Arizona seems to have some pretty lax gun laws too.
Arizona, Florida, Texas. There's a lot of states. So about half of the states, I'd say.
But does Florida really have that lax of gun laws? I heard Florida's gun laws are pretty tight.
Florida has some pretty lax gun laws.
Okay. Because we keep hearing about these shootings and stuff like that.
So, to bring up contrast, I'm pretty sure Nonpartisan has mentioned this in one of his media stories he's done on his channel about a certain house party in Australia where there were around 50 or so Sunnis immigrants who wanted to come to this house party uninvited and they gay crashed.
Yep, I've mentioned this actually.
And they decided to, the short story is they decided to go in. They weren't invited in, so they decided to break their way in and fuck up the house. They caused enough trouble. The police were called. The police stood outside and said, "We can't enter in and stop this because we don't have a warrant."
And also, you remember the time that there was, about 2 weeks after that, 150 Sudanese rioted, I believe it was in Melbourne, and to the point where the cops... Yep, and the cops actually fell back.
Yep.
They rioted, they overturned 4 cop cars, and basically rioted for about 6 hours, and the cops' response was they turned around and walked off and let them go.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Nico, if they elect Bernie Sanders, get the fuck out of your country. Or secede.
Or, kill him.
Figuratively speaking, of course.
They're calling JFK on that motherfucker.
Figuratively speaking, of course.
Figuratively speaking, in a self-defense,
military
self-defense situation.
Anyway,
Bernie Sanders.
The NAP does not apply to communists, all right? Understand that.
With an AIDS-infected pink dildo.
The NAP does not apply to state law.
Self-defense situation. You didn't want this.
Unless you're in California, we're getting intentionally infected with AIDS. It's just a misdemeanor, remember?
True. That in itself is very, very funny, actually. You actually go to jail for a longer time for less serious crimes. Work that one out.
Pirating videos.
Oh, yeah.
Pirating digital content.
But hey, don't worry. The HIV...
Yeah.
But don't worry, the HIV level isn't increasing in those sort of areas. Oh wait, it is. Who would have thought? Truth Australia says we cannot carry a bat, however, a handle to repair your axe.
Yeah. Basically, with our laws relating to weapons, you cannot be carrying anything which could be reasonably considered to be a weapon, but if you have a reason other for than being a weapon, then yes. In fact, Truth in Australia is correct on that issue.
Yeah.
If you're saying, I'm taking this,
I'm going to go and put this broom handle on this broom, and I accidentally clobbered someone with it before I got to the broom handle.
Exactly. So basically, you keep an axe head down at your home in the shed, and if you want to carry a baseball bat or something, you carry an axe handle on you. And you just hold it by the head end. Yeah. And if you get arrested for beating someone half to death with an axe handle, you say, "I bought this because I was planning to go back and repair my axe. I can show you the axe head sitting right there on my workbench."
That's actually
not carrying a weapon.
That's actually an interesting.
Carrying a weapon.
That's an interesting thing to remember because I actually broke my broom a couple of days ago. I think it was about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and I actually have the broom.
You have a right to carry a pole.
Yep.
You might need a new broom handle sometime.
I might
suggest so you don't break it again. You get a solid steel broom handle this time.
True, That would help me not break my broom
It
handle.
might not need to be too long either.
No.
Just about a couple of foot is more than enough for a small room to get cobwebs in.
So
That is the kind of room you need,
Nonpartisan.
correct?
You are just the very clumsy kind of guy that would need a solid steel lead cord broom handle.
true. Got to have something with a little bit of weight in it because
absolutely.
I'm always dropping that bloody thing.
Kind of.
He's so clumsy, so fucking clumsy.
But just in
Yeah,
Australia,
we have seen you stumble over it with the car.
I actually drove over it with the car, so I shouldn't joke about that. Very quickly, guys, we're going to wrap up here because I need to actually go to the toilet. Well, it wasn't me, it was someone else. But yeah, I had the broom over the driveway and they didn't bother checking it, they just drove over it. But truth in Australia, I inform all females I know, if you feel threatened, fearful, a water pistol with bleach in some countries is a great deterrent. I disavow that. I have no idea what he's talking about. Moving along. Producer, I want a hot female Aussie Ranger to arrest me for having a too big a water cannon, if you catch my drift. Wink, wink. And Truth in Australia, or Truth Australia, New South Wales, Australia, Y-frame slingshot illegal, Schedule 1 Y-frame. W-frame, sorry.
Yep.
W-frame.
Yeah, so you can't even have a slingshot.
W-frame slingshot is not illegal.
No, it's one of those things where
He's
if
saying
you
it
can
is.
cock.
It is saying it
Yeah,
is.
no, yeah, it is illegal. Crossbows are also illegal because of one instance during the mid '80s where a police officer was shot through his stab bullet-resistant quote-unquote vest with a 200-pound hunting crossbow, compound crossbow with a bodkin tip. So that's the reason why they're illegal, specifically. But yeah, anything that can be quote-unquote held for an extended period of time in an armed position is illegal.
So in other words, a rubber band with a paperclip on it is illegal.
In theory, yes. In practice, probably no.
No,
but that's the reason why you're not allowed to have... You're allowed to have a training bow which doesn't produce lethal velocities, but you're not allowed to have a youth bow or a low draw weight bow because someone could hold that in the ready position for an extended period of time. So that's why in Australia you're allowed to have training bows, 60-pound draw weight bows, and then full-on compound 100 and something pound draw weight bows.
All right, I need to go to the toilet, so we're going to wrap it up here. But yeah, guys, look, obviously,
Somebody I know.
Sorry?
Somebody I know, not going to say who, actually has a extremely lethal crossbow weapon.
Oh, interesting.
Crossbows are lethal. Like they're one of the best bow weaponries.
All right.
It can pierce the solid steel.
I shot it. It cracked up a log. It was insane.
All right. I've got to go to the toilet.
Are one of the...
Hey,
I got to go to the
wait,
toilet.
no, you still have my circle open. You still have my circle open.
No, I don't. I think I closed it.
Oh, I was going to play Trollo.
All right.
Actually, a fair point. Spear guns, no matter what their draw weight are perfectly legal.
Oh, interesting.
As long as you intend to use them for spear fishing.
Exactly. I have fish in my backyard that I need to fish for. All right, I'm going to go. I'm going to wrap up this because, like I say, toilet, busting, got to go. So, look, at the end of the day, guys, thanks everybody for joining. Obviously, links to
open
people's...
up links so I can play videos while you're gone.
Am I going to get flagged for this? No?
No, it's going to be a Troll video.
All right, all right.
Oh, let's as well end it.
Yeah, just end it. Just end it. It was just gonna be a bad joke.
Okay.
And
no,
go take a piss.
All right.
All right.
Apart from that, guys, thanks everybody
Good
for
stream.
joining. Obviously, links will be in the description below to Discord for Satellite's Discord. Obviously, also his current channel on BitChute. Also, you do have a YouTube channel that you are starting up again soon. You want to talk about that? Or
I will be working on that, yeah.
Yep,
I'll mention it next time.
Sweet. So we'll put a link to that next time. Apart from that, guys, anybody else have anything else they want to plug within reason, so to speak?
Well, I've started recently live streaming certain conversations from the Discord, but I don't think you want to plug that.
Okay, probably not. Anybody else? No? Alright. Thanks everybody for joining. Thanks everybody for tuning in and playing along at home. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Sorry there was no stream yesterday or the day before because of the whole E3 going on. I've been watching those videos and whatnot. Live streams will be going back to Sunday night, Monday morning as per usual. And also, we're probably going to do a little bit more of these streams throughout the week for important topics like this whole Trump thing. Apart from that, guys, thanks for joining. Have a great night and enjoy yourself.